Hey everyone, I just finished assembling this Caldwell Lead Sled 2. Okay, so a friend of mine gave it to me as a gift. So it's I saw it was $185 on Amazon with shipping. It'd be pretty close to $200. So what I wanted to do in this video is just give you guys out there two installation tips, right? Because they give you an installation manual. I mean, it shouldn't take more than, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes if you know what you're doing, if you've done it before. But given that I'm doing this for the first time, I think it took closer to like 2 hours, just because I kind of had to muddle my way through it. So the hardest part was figuring out how to get this thing together, okay? Because the way this attaches, there's this plate right here that with these screws that come in from the bottom side. You can't even see them over there. Okay, so it took me a while to figure out, because when they give it to you, the screws and the plate are together, so you don't realize that you actually have to take them apart, and you slide the plate in there, and then the screws come in from the bottom. However, this wheel is in the way, right? Because you take the Allen key, you're trying to go up, and you can see how it's going to be in the way. So what you got to do is you got to turn this knob over here, go all the way to the left or all the way to the right. Like all the way to the left to get these, to have the clearance to get these screws in, then go all the way to the other side, have the clearance to put those screws in. As you're going back and forth, you're going to find that it's a little bit tight. So spraying some gun oil on this screw in there. You can't see it right now, but the screw on the bottom side, there it is, right over there. Is going to make it screwing back and forth a little easier, okay? So that's how you're going to attach that. The rubber goes here, that wasn't clean out, and then this comes away all over the top. Oops, it stretches over the top, you stretch it, it locks in over here, and that's how you don't have to do it, but you can lock your gun in. So the other thing I want to show you guys is, as you can see, it was a lot easier to attach this by removing this completely from here. However, the thing to be aware of is that there is this little wedge in there, right? That sits, get myself out of the light. That sits in there, and there's a spring in there, okay? And basically, if you're not aware of it, it's very easy for this to drop out and to lose it. So I don't recommend you do this assembly at the gun range or outdoors, because there's lots of little screws. I mean, I pretty much dropped all the screws and all the nuts on this floor at one point or another, but it's clean enough that I could find them. So, but even if you're at the gun range, right, if you don't have this, you want to keep this like pretty tight, so that if this thing does drop and it goes upside down or something, this little wedge does not fall out. So that little wedge is going to fit in there, and and there's a spring in there, so don't lose the spring. I have to pause the camera. I'm going to insert it, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So that's where that wedge sits, right there, okay? So one of the things, like if you're not aware of it being there, it's very easy for you guys to lose it. So if you look on the screw over here, the big screw, it's got a wedge cut into it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of line that up and put that in. There you go. And then what you're going to do is, like, when you're transporting this or even moving this outdoors, you want to keep this tight, so this can't lift out. So even if something weird happens, like let's say, because this thing's big, it's very easy for this thing to flop over if you're leaning it against your truck or something, or against a bench. So it's impossible for this to come out while you are transporting it, and just loosen it up when you want to turn the wheel and raise it up, right? And then when you're done with that, I'm doing this one hand, and then when you're done with that, just clamp it back, like screw it back down, so that you don't lose that wedge, because that wedge is like, it wants to get lost, okay? That wedge is going to want to get lost. So this is very cool. So one of the cool things about this is that it's really going to give me a chance to see, like when I shoot, like normally bagged, right? I mean, I get, like, I'm capable of getting like 1 MOA groups on the different guns. So what I'm going to do is I want to compare like how I shoot with this, right, with this sled versus when I shoot bagged. Because I want to see, like, how good am I really, like how much movement do I have, because this is going to pretty much lock the gun in place. So in theory, the gun should be a little bit more accurate when it's locked into this thing. So I want to see how big the difference is, right? And then how often I can replicate that, right? Like for example, like when I shoot and I get like 1 inch, like when I'm shooting like 1 MOA groups, like I don't get that every time. Like even with the same gun, same ammunition, I might get that like 1 out of every 4, 1 out of every 5. So I want to see with this sled, am I getting it also 1 out of every 4, 1 out of 5, or is this going to be like every 4 out of 5? You know, so that will give me a better indication of how good I actually am. So it'll give me, a new bar, to try and raise my skill. It'll set a new bar for me to try to raise my skill level too. Okay, so that is the Caldwell Lead Sled. So like I said, like if I was to do it again, I would probably have this assembled within 15, 20 minutes. But doing it for the first time, trying to figure stuff out, especially with how this thing attaches over here. Yeah, it took me like, it took me like almost 2 hours to get this together. But I'm glad I have it. And I got to say thank you to my buddy that sent this over to me.